And now HBO's failure is complete. With a successful pay-per-view of Cotto and Canelo, HBO really had a decent year as far as those two fights making revenue. But as far as them gaining steam in a new direction, Mark Taffet, who was senior vice president for the longest time at HBO, my God, he got about 32 years with HBO. And at 52, I mean not 52, but 58 years of age, you know, he basically still has the fire to keep doing this. You know, him, Lou DiBella, and Dan Goosen, those guys took over and made HBO pay-per-view, which began in 91 when Don King had TVKO. And when they muscled Don King out of position so HBO can launch its own series, I think back in 91, the first HBO fight was George Foreman and Evander Holyfield. That fight was the first one they put on. And like Taffet said, you know, he recognized that he had a unique characteristic for the sport of boxing and pay-per-view, definitely. And how to attract a pay-per-view, how to market it, and get the right sponsors into it. I mean, look, this guy's done some heavy numbers. He's been involved in a lot of big fights. The Mayweather-Pacquiao fight didn't, hurt that number at all. Just increased it. But his thing with Bernstein and everyone else at HBO, there's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes with Ross Greenberg leaving. Once DiBella and all those guys left, he remained. Dan Goosen left and started his own promotional company. Lou DiBella left, started his own promotional company. Taffet stayed. And here comes Ross Greenberg and his system, and he's under Ross. And Ross comes in as president for his reign, a time he was there. And then when his administration leaves, and he thinks it's his turn to finally be president of sports of HBO, they give the title to Ken Hershman. And he still has the same role as before, and then now Hershman's the man, and then now it's a whole nother regime change. And when you've been in this game for 32 years, he just thought this time he was finally going to get his nod, and that's not going to happen, as he's been informed. They don't even have a replacement yet, but from the talks of it, he knows it's not going to be him. So he said, you know what, I'm out. At the end of the year, after these pay-per-views, December 31st, my contract's up, I'm gone. So now they got two spots to fill, and HBO don't care. They'll find someone else to replace him with. Because, see, here's the truth of the matter. Taffet likes Al Heyman's business because they intertwine with the same type of people. Like marketing and sponsorship. They have the same connections and friends. And Al Heyman is a businessman. And he can respect that. It's not about personal garbage. And Taffet's like, look, let's get the money, let's do a great show, let's put this on. And Ross, who he had a great relationship with, works with Al Heyman, and it'll be like going back to work with Ross and just doing it as a consultant. So he's going to be into a much bigger field. He can go to ESPN, he can work on Fox, he can do a lot of different outlets with a lot of these different companies, including Showtime. So this is my opinion only. I see him going that route. Now, he did leave a speech, and let me see, where is his speech? Here it is. My intention is to work with the fighters, promoters, and entities that will be mostly direct involved in the information of the next great era of boxing. That also includes sites, sponsors, and foreign broadcasters, all of the key players necessary. Most likely I'm going to speak with people who HBO is already involved with, but I will be on the other side. I have the passion to want to be part of it. I feel the best way to do that at this point is not with HBO, but with entities on the other side of the playing field. It will give me tremendous fulfillment. I have no intentions of leaving boxing. And he sent that note to colleagues and everybody, and saying that I grew up watching Jim Brown, Sandy Koufax, Bill Russell, and Born Borge, and I admire all of them for having the courage to leave on top. Every great era comes to an end. We just completed the most successful year in the history of pay-per-view, punctuated by Mayweather versus Pacquiao and Cotto versus Canelo. At this point in my life and career, as we begin the inevitable transition period to boxing's next great era, I believe my greatest contribution to this sport going forward is not with HBO. I was blessed to have one of the greatest runs in the history of sports. I came to work every one of my 11,576 days with passion, energy, and commitment to excellence, and the desire to win. We dared to be great, and thanks to an incredible team of professionals at HBO Sports, we were. So, I mean, all I can say is tip my hat to the guy. I know for a fact he didn't like Oscar De La Hoya. Couldn't stand him. And a lot of things that went on at HBO during that time when HBO came aboard with Oscar De La Hoya before the launch of Golden Boy Promotions, even when he was at Top Rank. They had a problem with Oscar De La Hoya, who was demanding things. He came in there demanding HBO give him $1 million party. He's demanding that HBO pay for this and HBO pay for that. And as the senior marketing executive, your fights are not compelling, or the opponents in the event is not big enough for what's going on in the ring, and you're not promoting the fights right. You know, we're going to have a problem. And that's when he went back to Top Rank so that Bob Arum could push to get the things that Oscar wanted. So when Floyd fought Oscar, Mark went to Floyd and said, everybody's rooting on you to beat this guy. See, that's something that you ain't going to find too much. But Floyd, no. Mark Taffet wanted to see Oscar De La Hoya lose. Could not stand the man. Now, I knew that this would come to an end with Hirschman and De La Hoya and everything else, and this new era HBO is going in, but we'll see what happens. But don't say I didn't tell you.